Welcome back to Rockruff Ruins Games, where I do just that. When Bowser's Fury first came out, my first priority was to come up with some sort of challenge run to do. While I couldn't think of anything, Mayro released a video where she attempted to beat the game while always riding Plessie. She concluded that it wasn't possible, but I'm going to try and prove otherwise. There's a few things to explain before I start the run. We obviously won't be able to stay on Plessie literally all the time. There's several Fury Bowser fights, each of which we have to use the Giga Bell for, so we won't be including those. You also don't even unlock Plessie until getting 5 cat shines and completing the first Bowser fight. To account for this, I'll be grabbing 5 shines that would have been possible with Plessie unlocked and continuing normally from there. I'll test out which shines are possible by using a separate save file. This may make the beginning of the run a bit confusing, so just bear with me. Finally, we only need to be riding on Plessie whenever we collect a cat shine, cat shard, or blue coin. Even with this fairly lenient rule set, there's still going to be plenty of obstacles to overcome. We need 50 shines to access the 5th Bowser fight, and the run will be complete once the credits roll. Can you beat Bowser's Fury while always riding Plessie? Let's see. After falling into Lake Lapcat, we land in First Step Isle. Being the first level in the game, there aren't any particularly challenging jumps. We can easily make it to where the first shrine would have been and unlock 3 more islands. One of those 3 is Scamper Shores. The first mission here is reaching the lighthouse. The only sort of tricky thing is this ledge that seems too high to jump on. It is possible with enough speed though. On our way to the top of the island, we'll also send Bowser Jr. to grab some cat shards. Several of them would be impossible without his help, so he'll be a very important asset in this challenge. So there we go, those are our 2nd and 3rd shines. Next is a Fury Shadow, which we can ram into with Plessie, no problems there. And all these key shines are easy as well. You can just open the cage on foot and then grab the shine with Plessie. And as you could probably guess, the Fury Block shine is easy as well. Or not? Turns out there's a lot of invisible barriers in this game that only work on Plessie. They surround nearly every Fury Block shine, with only a few exceptions. Oh well, we have 5 shines, so let's go fight Bowser and unlock Plessie for real. Bounce Isle could be tough. The bounce pads just straight up don't work while riding Plessie, so we need to use an alternative path. And that path exists right here, allowing us to skip half the level. Next, I hopped up these rising and falling pillars and had Junior grab the shards. Both those and the main shine are possible with Plessie. Our trip to Pounce ends there though, as the purple switch shine is impossible. Pressing it causes Plessie to disappear, and if we try and retrieve her, the shine will also disappear. We can, however, jump from Pounce down to this floating shine. Fort Flaptrap looks simple enough. Let's check that. I hate this game so much. There's another invisible wall. At least we can get the Fury Block shine, so this island wasn't completely pointless. Junior can also grab 4 of the 5 shards, but he's a bit too big to fit in this tunnel for the final one. And surprisingly, Plessie is too big as well. Mario and Bowser Jr. aren't the only things that can collect a shard though. We can also collect them by tossing an object into it. Like, say, a shell. With a very precise throw, we can get a shell into this tunnel, mount Plessie, and collect the shard. This is technically allowed. Keep in mind, the rule is just that we have to get the shard while riding Plessie, and we are doing that. We can also use a similar trick with this kitten by the shore. You've just got to be quick about it. I then came across this Plessie ring, which, spoiler alert, is possible. Who would have thought? Trickety Tower's shards are fairly easy to collect, but the main shine? Not so much. We can't see the floor, so we'll need to spam the R button to reveal the ground in front of us. After some trial and error, I managed to get Plessie to the top of the tower, but unfortunately, there was an invisible floor blocking her from reaching the shine. I guess it's fitting for a level based entirely around invisible platforms. I did at least learn a useful technique as I climbed up Trickety. Plessie is very slippery, and she typically takes a while to come to a complete stop, but she'll lose all her speed immediately if you just dismount her. This prevents a whole lot of tumbles that I would have had otherwise. Editing Rockruff here. I just realized that I forgot to mention that I got the Fury Block shine in Trickety Tower. It's super easy, out in the open, no problems there. Our 15th shine is nearby. All it takes to grab is an easy jump onto an iceberg. I'll be getting one final shine before Fury Bowser shows up, and that's Clawswipe Coliseum's shards. Plessie can't get inside the Coliseum, so we need to get a bit more advanced with Junior. Normally when he travels too far away from you, he'll teleport back, but that won't happen if you keep the R button held down. We take advantage of this to put Junior inside the Coliseum to grab the second and third shard. The second is easy, but the third forces us to keep Junior at the back of the arena, move to the opposite side, and then drag him towards us. After beating up Bowser for the second time, let's go save this mother's kittens. It's the exact same as the last kitten-based shine, but we have to get 3 cats. Crazy stuff. And at this point, it doesn't look like we have many more options. Somehow I don't think we'll have much luck in Crisp Climb Castle, and Slipskate Slope is locked behind a clear pipe that Plessie can't enter. Or so the developers would like you to believe. It's time for me to introduce you to the Super Jump. If Plessie is moving at a high speed and hits a wall while underwater, you can press a jump as you emerge from the water to get insane air. If we do this at the bottom of Slipskate, we can get Plessie up there and skip the clear pipe entirely. This gives us the first shine pretty easily, but we still have some more work to do if we want to get the shards. We'll have to scale some very thin platforms, which you'll fall off of with one wrong move. Of course, we have Junior to get a couple shards, and after a few attempts, we're good to go. Now on to the blue coins. It's easy. Plessie's one of the fastest movement options in the game, so it's not as if we're cutting the timer close or anything. And because the blue coins are possible, so is the key shine. Same deal as Scamper Shores. Just unlock the cage and then bring Plessie up. That brings us to 21 shines, enough to unlock the third Bowser fight. After beating him, a ton of new potential shines appear. Let's just hope it's enough. Over by Pounce Isle, we can tackle a new Plessie ring and a bunny, which were always intended to be done with Plessie anyways. What was probably less intended to be done with Plessie is Roiling Roller Isle. This island sucks. The shards aren't so bad. We only need to make it halfway up the island to grab all of them with Junior. But reaching the top is stupid. The second section is much more vertically based than the first, which Plessie doesn't exactly excel at. If we fall off the spinning platforms, we gotta restart. Slip up and fall in one of those smaller pockets of lava, restart. We have to very carefully navigate the platform's path, and by some miracle not fall off. After going at it for a while, I took a quick break to grab the shine on top of this wall, and then returned to hell. After so many attempts, I managed to pull it off. We can't do anything more there though, as the rest of the missions are locked behind a purple switch. A purple switch that we actually can do though is this one by the waterfall. Plessie is waiting for us right by the shine. Glad she made this one easy on me. Let's super jump up to the wasteland and go to Risky Whisker Island. Junior can take out the Fury Shadow and grab the shards without Plessie having to put in any of the work. Feasting on fuzzies doesn't utilize Plessie much either. We use a piranha plant to eat the fuzzies, and then we can just have Plessie grab the shine. We're up to 30 shines now. We're getting closer to that final fight. Our next shine isn't far from Risky Whisker, and we grab it with a super jump. The last thing we can do in Risky is break these Fury Blocks, which also gives us the third and final possible Fury Block shine. Next I grabbed this shine on the Hidden Isle, which we were also always meant to do while riding Plessie. On to Pipe Path Tower. As we've already seen, Plessie cannot fit in a clear pipe. That means our only option is to ride on top of the pipes. Unfortunately, that's not really an option, as this jump here is a little too high for Plessie. So once again, it's super jumps to the rescue. If you go behind the tower and bounce off this wall, you can get a ginormous leap into the air and make it onto these pipes. Just be careful not to dunk Plessie into this hole. The rest of this level is fairly unproblematic. Grab the main shine, then go grab the shards. That's 2 more shines under our belt. Completing those shines also unlocked another Plessie ring, bringing the total up to 36 shines. We've only left one island untouched at this point, that being Mount Magmeow. Considering we still have 14 more shines to go until 50, that's pretty worrying. What's even more worrying is that I know for a fact the Prince Bully fight isn't going to be possible. Whenever you enter a boss arena, Plessie disappears and you get trapped inside some barriers. That's no different for the Bully. I guess we'll just attempt the cat shard shine while I try and think of something. The gimmick of Mount Magmeow is that you have to stand on these green platforms to travel over lava. But riding on Plessie doesn't count as standing on the platforms, so we actually have to dismount her and just stand next to her. But when Plessie gets hit by a fire bar while we aren't riding her, she just poofs out of existence. Quite the conundrum we have here. The solution is to alternate between standing on the platform and riding on Plessie in such a way that we can both move forward and not lose Plessie. Either that, or we can take the easy way out and just jump across these blocks that Fury Bowser creates. Yeah, let's do that. Now about those shards. Most are easy, but the fourth one is so annoying. It's blocked behind a couple walls that Plessie is just too big to pass through. Obviously, we'll just get Junior to grab it, but getting Junior to grab a shard behind a wall is stupid. We can't get the shard on camera, so we have to position the cursor on a wall behind the shard, and drag the cursor up. It doesn't seem so difficult, but it took a solid 30 minutes of experimenting to get this shine. And that's basically our last option. Every single shine that I could find lying around Lake Lapcat looked either impossibly difficult or just straight up impossible. And even if I do manage to find a few more shines, there is no way that I can find an entire 13 shines. As much as I hate to say it, we simply cannot reach that 50 shine threshold. It's a good thing we don't need 50 shines to beat the game then, huh? Yeah, it's true. Now, a lot of you are probably aware that during the fourth Bowser fight, Bowser will retreat after losing half of his final health bar. But what would happen if he had already lost half his health before that fight begins? Well, there's a way to make that happen. When you collect a shine while Fury Bowser is awake, he'll just go back to sleep. But in addition, he'll also lose a little bit of health. It takes 11 shines to get him to half health. Using this, it's possible to beat the game with only 40 cat shines. We still aren't at 40 shines yet, but 3 is a lot more manageable than 13. And I think I know the perfect island to go to in order to get those last shines. It may sound crazy, but we're gonna go to Fort Flaptrap. Okay, how do I plan on getting around this invisible wall? Even with a super jump, the wall just goes too high. That leaves us with one choice: to clip through it. By lining up right about here, we can build up speed, super jump, and we are in. Now that we know it's possible to get inside, all that's left to do is grab those shines. For Shine 38, it was interesting to see how Plessie interacts with bullies, since that wouldn't normally happen. You can land a ton of hits on them at once, and it almost looks like you're creating confetti. Shine 39 could be tricky. It's a blue coin challenge, but the switch is outside of the invisible barrier. It's not as bad as it looks though. What I did is first bring Plessie into Fort Flaptrap, then get her down to ground level. I left Plessie inside the barrier, went to hit the switch, and got back on Plessie. From there, I sent Junior to grab the 2 coins that were outside the barrier, and everything else plays out about how you would expect it to. Finally, with one last shine left to grab, we take out some Magic Koopas and reach that 40 shine threshold. I am in disbelief that we made it this far. And there's just one last thing to do, and that's finish off Bowser once and for all. And the best part? We finish the game while riding Plessie. After landing 4 hits, we have proven that it is possible to beat Bowser's Fury while always riding Plessie. At least within our rule set. Things were still a little shaky at the beginning of the run. But regardless of any semantics, I'm still pretty proud of what I managed to accomplish here. I'd like to give some credit to a member of the 3D World Speedrunning Discord, Compilation Goomba. They were the first person to discover that you can clip Plessie into Fort Flaptrap. The run wouldn't have been possible without them. And once again, thanks to Mayro for coming up with this idea. The run would have done substantially less of the whole existing thing if it wasn't for her. Also, sorry about not uploading for a while. I lost motivation for a bit there, but I'm back. I think that's just about all I've got for today. This has been Rockruff Ruins Games. Thanks for watching.